Yeah. Yeah, this is my posse in the background. We have a local news. Hey guys, Oily here. Sorry, we're having an internal discussion about background people making comments. So just ignore me. Anyways, hey BC, hey Pinwoodsman, Iva KI. Who else is out there? I know Hidden Numismatist was out there. Sandy's Passion. Buzz Forgate. Sandwiches. So, out there in the external. I hope everybody had a great Christmas, or if you don't celebrate, a great last couple of weeks. Hanukkah and all. So anyway, we kind of stayed pretty busy. I had my granddaughter pretty much half of the time. So yeah. So last week I couldn't do the show. I was hurting so bad from sitting on the floor wrapping gifts. I'd wrap for a little bit and then I'd get up and take a break and then I'd sit and wrap. But man, it's tough on this old broad. So I decided it'd probably be better to wait. I didn't think y'all wanted to see me sitting here going.
You don't have an oily essentials cure for gift wrapping lumbago or whatever it is?
Well, I had my husband oil up my back with, we have this cream through Young Living, so I had him get that all over my back, and you know, sometimes it just takes just some rest. So that's kind of what I was doing last week. The week before, my granddaughter had her Christmas program. So, hey, Rusty Faith. So, yeah, just kind of recouping from that. And I was sick, too. I had I don't know if it was a sinus infection or a head cold or what, but.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, oiled up and everything, and so, but still a little not quite there, but I'm getting better. Wanted to show y'all our oil, our soap that we made a couple of weeks back. See how beautiful.
Oh, right. Wow, it's square and.
Yeah, I cut it. Well, I
ridges.
Cut it.
Nice.
Yes, it's a special cutter that has ridges. But anyway, there's our beautiful soap. So those that won the soap, make sure you PM'd me your address so I could do each. So those will probably be ready. I'm going to pH test strip them before then and just make sure, but before I send them, just to make sure they're actual soap and there's no more lye detected in it. And as long as they pH test correctly, then I'll go ahead.
You don't want to send anybody like molecular acid from the aliens or something.
Well, I don't think they'd appreciate it if their skin started like falling off their bones. You know, that probably wouldn't.
So what's a good pH level for that soap?
Oh God, I think it's around 8. You know, I'll have to double check. I haven't pH tested them before because I mainly do hot process soap, and so it pretty much.
I'm trying to remember. Is the pH scale 1 to 10 and 5 is in the middle or something?
I don't know. I just do these little. I bought these little test strips, and I know I got to go back and look at my notes again to what the pH is. I think it's between.
Southern Arc says 7.5 is what she uses.
Yeah, between 7 and 8 is what I think I remember, but I don't want to make any promises on that. so we'll just say about that. Hey, Lincoln Central. Angel, hi, Southern Arc Homestead. Ramsey Silence here, SKS Hugo. Oh my gosh, hi everybody. I'm catching up. Oh my gosh, I'm a redneck Cockerham is out there. How have you been, hun? I sure have missed you. In a while. Hope you're doing okay.
See, everybody missed you, Oily.
Oh my gosh, I missed everybody too. You guys are my therapy. I'm stressed, like to get on here and catch up with everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, I have stress.
I
I was telling everybody that my husband's company, I've been praying about it, asking God what to do, because for a while they've been saying that they were they had put their company up for sale, and this other company was going to buy out his company, and he had to re-interview for his position. Everybody did. And so I've just been praying, Lord, whatever your will is, let it be.
So it's like that movie Office Space?
What do you mean? I never watched Office Space.
That's where they send in the
Bobs.
the consultants to interview everybody and see who they can fire.
Yeah, pretty much. And my husband's the oldest in his department, so guess who didn't get rehired for the new company? So anyway, there was like 12 of them or something like that. So, but anyway, so we just took it as a sign that, Lord's ready for him to move on and do something else. So he's going to look at a semi. We're going to purchase a semi, and he's going to start hauling water for the oil field in this area. So that's what he's going to do, buy a semi and a trailer. So
Wow.
anyway, so yeah, I mean, even though I trust the Lord and everything, it's still a little bit stressful trying to figure out how it's all going to fall into place. So yeah,
The Lord does move in mysterious ways.
I mean, my husband has been
Certainly,
thinking about it for a while.
I haven't been able to figure him out. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we could figure him out. Would so much better off, wouldn't we?
I don't know, but
that's where our trust comes in, though. We got to trust that, he knows what's best for us. And my husband had been climbing up on those engines, working on them, and it's just not a very safe thing, especially for somebody who's got a rough back. So anyway, so we're trusting that this is what he's supposed to do, and
maybe he's saying it's time for a change.
Yeah, I agree. Usually he has to kick me out. Like God just has to say, put it to the point where there's no doubt it's time to go.
Well, the fact that he has a CDL says that somewhere in his past, he had a path he had a choice on, and he chose to get that CDL, the commercial driver's license, and now it's coming in handy. So,
oh yeah.
I thought you were talking about.
He puts a lot of choices in front of us.
I thought you were talking about God, and I was like, why would God have a CDL?
No, the fact that that he puts opportunities in front of us, and we have to choose of our own free will to recognize that opportunity and take it, because you never know when there might be some ramifications in the future. I mean, it could go both ways. You could have an opportunity, or you could have a setback too. So,
when I was a kid, teenager, somebody bought me a poster that said, "Don't follow the road, make your own path." So that's kind of how I've always lived my life, because somebody bought me that poster.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope everything works out with that truck and he can get to doing what he wants to do there. That sounds like a pretty decent deal or gig he's working on.
Yeah, well, the oil industry is going gangbusters from what I hear. Of course, there's been the whole big thing with Anwar that got opened up with the tax bill. So Trump's been talking about energy dominance and stuff, but I don't really know a lot about the oil industry except from what I read on a book about Exxon. But that was, it's been a couple years since I read that one.
Yeah. Well,
just keep pumping oil. I'm in plastics now, so keep pumping oil. We need it.
Well, for your car parts, petroleum derivative parts for automobiles, I guess. I cleaned out my new Scepter 5-gallon water jug, and this morning, and I did do some bleach and water in there, and I did recognize a slight, just oily kind of just a petroleum byproduct smell on the inside, but it was really minor, and it's normal for petroleum. It was less than most petroleum products and so what I did was I did bleach and water in there, filled it all the way up with hot water and bleach, shook it up, left it in there for 5 minutes, dumped that out. Then I filled it up with hot water and baking soda, left that in there for 5 or 10 minutes, dumped that out, put in cold water, rinsed it out, and then I'd leaving it out in the sun, and it smells fine.
Now, was yours new or was it used?
It said new, and the inside smelled like it was new, but the outside looked a little like they had been stored in a pile with a bunch of other stuff.
Well, mine actually had spray paint on it and stuff like that, so there's no telling what was in mine. So maybe that's different.
The outside.
You know what that rust probably was, HVS? It's probably from a steel band wrapped around the pallet. It's probably on a pallet, and it's half-inch steel banding.
Yeah, I used a little bit of an SOS pad to rub most of that off, and the outside just had a little dirt on it, dust, so that was easy to come off. So, but it looks clean, and it smelled great after I did the baking soda and water and dump, and then a cold water dump, and it's just sitting out in the sunshine. And I used the water and bleach from the first cleaning pass on the Czech AK leather pouches that I got. So I put it out in the sun after I wiped down all the I don't know what kind of mildew could grow on. It looked like gun oil, drops of gun oil that had been on the dropped on the leather, and then it dried up. But some kind of fungus must grow on petroleum of some, must be able to. But I hit it with bleach and water, and then just stuck it out in the sun, and it looks a lot better, all of them. And I'll hit it with Obanaz in a day or two after a day or two in the sun. So,
do you think it was cosmoline?
It was some kind of oil. The oil was no longer there. I mean, but it looked like I know that there must be some kind of fungus or bacteria that grows on oil, petroleum, because that it looked like that. It didn't just look like dried oil spots. It looked like something kind of grew on the oil spots. And used it for food somehow. But I'm not a fungus expert or anything. But I just hit it with bleach and water, and after that I kind of spilled it out of onto a sponge when I was emptying out the 5-gallon Scepter, and then just wiped down the Czech leather magazine pouches with it, and it's looking good in the sun so far. And so I should be able to fill it up the thing up with water tomorrow or the next day, and have the magazine pouches. I should oil them up at probably 2 or 3 days. And I kind of MacGyvered a bushcrafting fix to my American flag. I was having an issue because it's hanging on the you've seen the picture, Squib. It's kind of hanging on a sunshade with two little there's like at the bottom of the sunshade there's a long aluminum thing with two tie down rings that you kind of slide around, and whenever the wind blew it would kind of push the rings together so the flag wasn't always spread out. So I took a length of bamboo, and I chopped it to about the right length so there'd be a little tension because it flexes, and then I just cut 2 notches on either side, and it seems to be I put the rings that hold the carabiners that go to the flag grommets up, and it seems to be keeping the space the flag completely at full length and not scrunched up or scruggly or whatever, and it looks good for now. I may have to go through a few of those before I get it just right, but it seems to be working first day.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's my bushcrafting deed for the day, the American flag bushcrafting MacGyver.
So let me ask you all this, since Squib kind of gave me this idea of discussing like things that we've talked about, like and learned from over the year, things that we've done to improve ourselves as far as prepping goes in whatever aspect of our life. So what have you guys, has there been anything that you felt like you've learned? A lot of you are preppers already, but things that you've learned that maybe you didn't know before, or things that you want to learn in the coming year, or have us discuss. I'm interested to know that from everybody.
Well, I've learned that prepping is not what you see on TV.
Oh yeah, Doomsday Preppers.
Definitely not.
Yeah, Doomsday Prepper. I love that series. However, there were more people there trying to promote their business than people that were just telling their story.
Right.
But there's more to prepping than that, and there's a way to turn prepping into more than just maybe a process that you're doing for a potential in the future, but to also make it into a hobby and to make it into something that you can use to turn your daily routine into maybe something a little bit more productive. So it's you can approach it from a business standpoint, or from the world's going to end standpoint, or from a practical standpoint. And I'd say that just being on the podcasts or on the shows, I've realized that it's more down to earth. It's more about being practical,
and you can do it for fun too.
Yeah,
prepping can be just fun.
I think also too.
When I've had people tell me that preppers are psychos, I've said it's a harmless hobby. Who gets hurt?
Yeah.
People learn skills like medical skills or survival skills. Companies make tons of money selling this stuff. It's a harmless hobby. If people were getting injured, or people's rights were being violated, or parents were ignoring their children, or whatever it is, then I could say, okay, maybe it's not so, but it's a harmless hobby. So I don't get the negative connotation to it.
They like tie it to firearms, and then the firearms are all evil or something. So I mean, I had one lady come up to me and say preppers are crazy. And you said, "Oh, you're not a prepper. You don't have like thousands of firearms." Or it's like, I don't have thousands, but I have a lot of them. Yes, I'm one of those people.
Yeah, and that isn't necessarily what it's about anyways. Yeah, I think that protection is a good portion. You want to protect what preps you do require, whether they be your knowledge or items that you have, and your family, of course, first and foremost. But my goodness, I mean, yeah, it's not everything, but it's a good part of it. But yeah, it's not about violence and about people prepping for these crazy things. Yeah, there are always bad apples in every bunch. There's going to be people out there that take prepping to the extreme, just like they do with everything else.
I think a panel like this, though, I mean, at least for me, the benefit is hearing the different perspectives, and I might be shaking my head, yeah, I got that, but there's one thing that I don't have, and that's a good gap filler. And it helps kind of spread the knowledge, not just between all of us up here, but, those out in the external offer a lot of input too, which, getting all these different perspectives really helps kind of refine and fill in those little holes that we might have gaps in and stuff like that.
There's a real cool prepper community on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting people.
I think so too. And I think that while there are extremists out there, and bad apples, and people who take it way too far, for the most part, I think most people in the community, especially out here on YouTube, and all of the people I know, are just simply people just trying to take practical situations that may arise or are likely to arise, just like a job loss, and find a way to.
It happens to everybody. I mean, I can't think of anybody that I know that hasn't been terminated just because a business went south for a while.
Yeah. People out there are asking where's Mouse.
Except for government employees. They never get terminated until they retire. Anyway.
Mousetoe's not sure where she's at. She probably forgot it was Thursday, or she may.
I can tell you she's not at Walmart buying Kraft macaroni and cheese and tins of Spam. That's for sure.
I've got my macaroni and cheese.
Or potted meat. Yeah, no. Chongzi's out there. Welcome, guys. Yeah, I think that because I've learned so much from all of you. I mean, I couldn't even list it all. Things that you do, ways that you view things that I might not have thought about. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's good for us to be able to get together and discuss and kind of bounce ideas off of each other and go over our own list of things so that maybe there's something that you thought about that I didn't, or something that's multi-purpose that I can whittle down some of my stuff so that I'm not like so much in my bag or in my vehicle or whatever, multi-purpose items, things like that, or some things that are very simple around the household items that I can use instead of going out and buying something expensive, or, you know, new skills that we've learned and everything. Hey, Jeep. Hey, Gear Griden. My goodness. Good to see y'all. But yeah, I mean, it really is amazing the things that I've learned this year from each and every one of you so much, and I really appreciate everyone's input. I learned so much on maintenance from Squib. Unbelievable amounts of stuff from Squib this year on maintenance and
well, if you're gonna buy a semi rig, you're gonna have to figure out how to keep it working.
Oh, my husband's a diesel mechanic, so yeah, that's his thing, not mine. But,
he's not gonna come and say, "We got a flat tire, honey. Go change it."
Yeah. No, that's what he's got his own tire machine for. He can go out and do that. If he needs help, I'll go out there and help him. Yeah, he has a brother across the road that's awesome mechanic, and he's a really big boy, so he can lift those tires better than I can. Oh my goodness. And let's see, Nina had mentioned that she sure liked the books reference for having material in writing, like books to reference in the event that you can't reference your digital material, can't get on Wi-Fi, things like that. I thought that was cool that she shared that. And says that they started their channel to mainly document the progress on their property, but they plan on doing a lot of prepping videos on stuff.
Yeah, it's weird how just sometimes having a YouTube channel can drive you to keep prepping. It's like, oh, let's do a video about this, and then so you do one thing, kind of prepping, and make a video about it, like, and then you realize when you watch other people's videos that from other prepping channels that there's canning is on my list of things to learn one day. But I mean, I don't really have a lot of room in my house right now, but there's a lot of stuff that's on my to-do list when I get out of my condo and into like a regular, more of a bug out kind of a property. And but so I have like a long list of prepping to do things, and it's just a long list.
We covered a lot this year. I mean, we did basics of like what is prepping, and we went into pretty good detail on that very first of things to consider having, and different areas of prepping. So yeah, we went through a lot, and we showed various books. And we talked about vehicle maintenance for winter auto preparedness, which some of it relates to any time of year, and just all sorts of things. We've sure done a lot this year.
Well, there was a few shows. There's a few shows, Oily, that we could only cover like one or two parts of a specific topic because they were so far in depth. So that was really good too.
Oh yeah, we had so much. I mean, just our bug out bag deal alone. Heck, I don't know how many bug out bags we did quite a bit. I'm going to see about sending Jeep a link here, so y'all just keep on chatting, if you will, and I'm going to try to get to Jeep's channel.
Well, it's a
my
balmy
goodness.
10 degrees here in upstate New York tonight. So
Woohoo!
10?
Woo!
10. It's supposed
It's
to
like
go down to 2.
It's 80 in Hawaii, so
Oh, send some our way.
now the
You
weather's
saw
here.
that picture I texted you this morning, HVS, right?
Yeah,
With the thermometer in Michigan?
it was that like a thermometer from your car or something?
Yeah, that was in my truck on the way to work this morning.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah, I was wondering why somebody would send me that. But it's like, you aren't going to make me feel jealous. I mean, it's blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. It's sunny day and it's 80 degrees. And
I'll tell you an interesting thing that happened to me today. I had my son, and we went to the military surplus store, poke around and get some mittens for him and some of the silky long johns and just some cold weather stuff. And we were going through the city portion just before we got to the military surplus store, and my nuke alert, the keychain little alarm system.
oh, you've got one of those? Those
Yeah.
look cool.
Well, it started to chirp, and I was like, I had that face like, what's that going on? And it was chirping at 0.1 millirads. So that was kind of interesting. And thankfully,
What was it?
couldn't tell you. We got through the city and it stopped. So there's something funky going on there. And when we came back through, it wasn't going off. So I don't know what was going on. It was a little bit scary.
Will it detect something from a medical facility?
You know, that's what I was thinking, because we did go by a hospital, and I was wondering if that might not be what it was. That was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, they have. I mean, I know that UCLA has a medical research reactor, and a lot of hospitals have medical nuclear materials, or I'm not sure how many have their own reactors to make it, but that it does have a medical use.
I mean, I don't know that Cobalt 60 will register through walls, through multiple stories, out in the middle of the street, but who knows?
Yeah, I just, one day we were out working on the truck, and it was in the direct sunlight, and it started to chirp from the sun's radiation. And it's a really slow chirp. It sounds almost like a bird, so it really kind of gets your attention. You're like, what the heck is that?
I looked at those things on, I think I forgot what website sells the keychain ones, and they were like almost $200, and they didn't use to, I think, was it SKD or whatever, but they didn't a long time ago, they didn't ship them to Hawaii. I don't know if it's like because of they can't ship that on an airplane or something, because it's deemed a hazardous material or something, or because it has a little radiological sign on it. But it's the old civil defense ones are like $50 on Sportsman's Guide. I didn't get one, those big yellow boxy ones.
Yeah.
But it's the keychain one looks really damn convenient, though. I'll say that.
It is, and it comes pre-calibrated. The civil defense ones that you're talking about, I have a set, and those are legit old 50s, 60s era civil defense stuff. You've got to kind of manually calibrate the Geiger counter part of it. But this is the second time it's gone off since I've had it, and I've had it for almost 2 years, and it's kind of it'll like get your attention. And you're like, what do you do? It's like you're in the middle of a city and you're not home or anything like that, and it's like this thing starts chirping off, and it's like, and anymore, is it some knucklehead behind you with a trunk load of stuff he's not supposed to have? You just don't know anymore, So I don't know. You don't want to be the guy that calls 911 and says, my nuke alert is going off. What's going on?
Well, that's a valid thing to do. I mean, it is going off. But if there was an attack, there should be if there was a missile attack, there should be the siren going off.
This thing would have been going nuts too. So
Is there somebody that can send Jeep a link to the internal? My internet's just fizzling out on me. I've got to get back to my external. It's not letting.
I could try. I don't know if I'll have any luck.
You go to their About section.
So I made the decision today that unless it's registering some dangerous level of radiation, I'm not going to call 911. I'm just going to say it's either some kind of weird anomaly or it's not. But if it was anything that was like dangerous, I would get to a safe place, of course, and then call.
They'll probably tell you to call 911 operator will probably tell you to call NORAD or something. I mean,
Probably right.
They don't do nuclear attack radiation response. I mean, they don't, as far as I know.
No, there is some first responder training for that because in major metropolitan areas, they have equipment that will detect things like that in case there was a dirty bomb attack or that sort of thing. And every now and then, first responders, now at what level, I don't know, federal, state, county, local, I don't know, but you hear about it on the news, today they did a drill and blah, blah, blah. And that's what you were seeing if you were happened to be in downtown, blah, blah, blah. And they'll do stuff like they'll practice decontamination or that sort of thing. They'll be wearing the suit, or they'll rope off an area, or they'll do something like that. And first responders more and more are now, whether or not this thing is so sensitive that if your new neighbors are building a dirty bomb in their garage, it'll go off, and it's been going off for 3 days, and you think maybe I should call the sheriff.
Right.
That's a judgment call.
Yeah. Well, you just don't want to be the kooky guy that calls in and it doesn't look like it's an expensive device, and people look at it, oh, well, that's a cute gadget. It's just not right, and then you're just a nutcase. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I mean, are you on any list yet?
No. That's the fast track way, I'm sure.
Good night, Smokey. Sorry I hadn't caught you yet.
Who was I supposed to send a link to again?
Keep things outdoors.
But anyways, that was my excitement for the day. I thought that was interesting, and just never know, I guess.
My internet is.
I'm looking for his. If you want me to send you a link, comment in the external YouTube so I can find your YouTube page.
They're out there.
I don't see any. Jeep things out there. Okay, I see his one. Let me try and get something to him.
Sorry, I'm
You
trying to
can
open
do
up
it.
the page. Whew. Go ahead. Sorry. He commented, comment, LOL. Or they commented.
All right,
Oh my
stand by. Stand by, Jeep things outdoors. I think I'm sending you something now.
Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to think of what are you guys planning on as far as like improving upon as far as your preps go this year? I'm excited to see about what my husband's going to do with this wind turbine thing that he was given from.
Oh, you guys are going to put a wind turbine on your property?
Yeah, no, that sounds like a great project.
Yeah, I don't know if he's planning on putting it up this year or just waiting until the need arises, but hopefully we
I
can get
still
it.
don't know why you guys don't hook a bunch of extension cords together and just run to one of the big ones behind your house.
If one of those was on our land, yeah, we probably would, but it doesn't work like that. Yeah, our house is literally, we cannot take a picture in any direction that there's not at least one, if not 4 or 5 wind turbines, and they're all on other people's land. It is so frustrating. Especially since those people stopped by and asked us who owned what land so that they could contact everybody. And of course, they put it on everybody else's land except for ours. Anyway, we should have at least got some kind of commission off of that.
So now
Well,
you're talking about a system with deep cycle batteries and a whole 9 yards, right?
I think so. I want something. Hey, Barrel Boywood. I'm wanting to do something. I'm mainly wanting to do something with our water well. I want to have a backup, something for our water well, because it is so deep. I don't want to have to worry about trying to hand pump it or whatever. I mean, the choice is a windmill or so.
To operate the pump, you're talking about like an old style
how deep?
tin
How many feet?
kind of a.
How
I
many
think it's
feet?
180. 180.
How many horsepower does your pump have to be to pump it up?
Oh, I'm sorry, 280. It's at 280. Sorry.
How many horsepower do you need on your engine to pump it up?
Half horse is what he said.
Half horsepower?
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably get a solar pump for that, couldn't you?
Yeah, we could. It's just that we have solar's kind of hard here because we have hailstorms coming through constantly.
No,
I don't.
Solar pump to run off of your windmill.
Oh yeah, imagine.
Yeah,
I imagine.
DC is DC.
right.
I don't know enough about that stuff. Is the bad thing. Hey, Rob Painless. Goodness, lots of people I don't normally see in here. Nice seeing you all.
Hey, Rob.
Everybody had a wonderful time. Good to see you. Yeah, so that's kind of one of the things that I'd like to focus on this year. I mean, we have on upgrading our electric grid. I don't know, sometime this year, hopefully, we're going to upgrade our electric grid to where it can hold more, allow more amperage going through it. So we'll see about that as well. Jeep, you still didn't get the link? All right, here.
Have you
I
considered
sent it.
a cistern? Like one of those big 1,500-gallon potable water tanks to put up on the surface?
I mean, we could. I don't know. That's something we kind of have to talk about. My husband's not as into the preparedness thing as I am, so.
Yeah, catchment systems are like the normal thing out here in Hawaii for anyone that's not on city water, or just, I mean, a lot of the places, especially up on the volcano or on remote locations, it's just get the rainfall, put it in a water tank, and if you don't get enough rainfall in your particular area, there's people who'll just deliver water, or you can go get free water if you have a pickup truck and a big container to carry it in, and fill up your water tank. And there's companies, yeah, they sell the liner for the water tank and UV filters, all that stuff to make it potable. And of course, you could always build your own distilling system and desalinate seawater if you really want to.
Plus, is your husband going to be hauling water? So you're going to have a big old water tanker there at your place too that you could fill up too if you ever had to.
So that it's potable water that he'll be hauling.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's the water that they do fracking with, is what you're saying?
It's what's produced out of the wells themselves.
It's what's produced out of the wells themselves, he said.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Oh, okay. So like the natural gas has water, and you got to haul it out of there so they can get to the
stuff
oil.
you don't want to drink.
Yeah. Jeep, I'm going back and I'm on your about section to send it to you in YouTube. Hold on.
Yeah,
We'll try it again.
I did that.
Because he got it, Willie. That's what he says. He says, I got it. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, YouTube just takes a while because it's YouTube.
Yeah, there's sometimes I've sent links that way, and they didn't get it until after the live chat was over. It's awful. Some people that didn't get it till the next day. It's pretty sad. But yeah, BC asked if we're over the Ogallala Aquifer, and yes, we are. So we're pretty blessed that way. So it's gone again, Jeep?
It's gone?
How? How is that possible?
Wait, I thought he said he had the link. How could it just disappear?
You see what happens with net neutrality?
Yeah,
I
no
don't think it has
kidding.
anything to do with net neutrality.
All right, Jeep, I'll go back again. I hadn't sent it. The joys of YouTube sometimes, people. I'll tell you.
Well, basically, I'm just hoping that 2018 isn't an event-driven year as far as prepping goes, because a lot of crazy stuff could happen next year, and I hope none of it does. But if it doesn't, then I like to take my time.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely
Okay,
be a
Jeep,
year of heightened alerts.
it's not showing me subscribe to YouTube. I know I had been. Ugh. Drives me nuts. Okay. It's taken forever, but it'll come up.
Yeah.
Just
Maybe it's a Google Plus thing and not a YouTube thing. Who knows?
I don't know. All right, I'm going to send you the first link, but I'm going to leave your chat open in case that one doesn't work, okay? So give me a minute. It's taking forever.
Well, I'm going to be committing to work on my property and start to get things squared away. So that's going to be a lot of traveling, a lot of work over the summer and spring.
Oh man! So what all do you need to get done as far as your property goes?
Everything. I'm on the hunt for a new piece, and hopefully by May I'll have that secured and
A
new piece of land. Not in New York, so it'll be down south someplace, and hopefully that'll be exciting and less stressful.
I was wondering if you were going to say not in New York.
Yeah, not here.
Yeah, I think New York is like ground zero. It's like the most number one city that people want to blow up.
Yeah.
So what sort of characteristics are you looking for in the property?
Well,
do you want it mountainous? Do you want flat land? Do you want it on the coast? Do you want a lot of trees? Do you want something that you can lease out to a farmer?
Volcanic jungle.
No, not a volcanic jungle. So the criteria that I set aside, and this has been kind of a labor of love over the last 3 years, is I would like it to be rolling mountainous land, not steep, with some farmable portions, so some bottomland on it, and it has to have at least 2 sources of water, a spring and a creek, or a spring and a pond. So I found 3 pieces of property that meet that criteria, and now I just got to go and validate. So I'll take a water sample when I go down and review the land from the spring. Send those off to, I think there's a place online you can send the water samples to, and they'll tell you, how good or bad it is. And then
now, what about the climate? What about the climate for that?
It's probably.
Are you opposed to ever getting snow?
No. It's going to be the upper southern portion of the United States, so somewhere in the Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina area. That's kind of where I'm focused in on.
Really?
Yep.
I would have suggested Western Kentucky or Western Tennessee for that.
Yep.
Hillbillies.
Well, no, I'm just saying that the North Carolina, Western North Carolina would be more, I would think, would be more steep.
Yeah, it gets in, when you get to the mountains, you're right. It does start to get very steep, and thankfully the internet has allowed for the geographical surveys. They could tell you the steep parts of properties if you know where to look, and there's a layer that can go over it. So it'll tell you exactly, where your steep spots are and what your inclines are. And so that's been a tremendous help for me virtually shopping for these properties.
Relief maps.
Yeah. Yep. And I've become pretty good at reading topo maps too.
If you got that link for me this time, that's one link. I can send you a different one if I need to. I kept your page up, so.
Yes, we're sure that before next year you will get that link.
Yeah. I can't even guarantee that. That's what's scary.
Next year is, today's the 28th, so we got 29, 30, 31, 5. I think you'll get it by then. course, the chat will be closed by then.
So the tentative plan is that it's going to primarily be used as a hunting property. So the hunting cabin, I've spec'd out about 1,500 to 1,600 square foot shipping container building. So that'll be what I'll be working on.
You know, somebody
one of those.
Somebody had a great YouTube video on their channel that I was watching. They built a little cabin out of just a pallet, and they didn't want to spend any money.
I saw that. Yep.
You saw that one? That was pretty cool.
It looked like a dad and his son were building it.
Yeah. And I just thought that was great, man. And I mean, it wasn't big, but it was for a hunting cabin. It's big enough.
Yep.
You can buy the shipping container houses on Amazon, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, you can. Yep. They're pretty pricey pre-done.
And soon Amazon will be taking Bitcoin. Yeah. But I think but I think that actually shipping anything to Hawaii would cost a fortune.
So right now I'm kind of contemplating whether it's going to be a 4 or a 5 45-foot shipping container building. Just need to get it on I'm going to use some prefab concrete blocks, which are 4 feet. They're the big ones that you see like construction sites. Use that for foundation and leveling, and then I'll set those on there. I'll have somebody with a crane come in and set those on there, and then I'll bolt them all together, weld them down. And
I mean, I'm too lazy. If I could maybe do a pallet or a bushcraft something together, but for a bug out hunting cabin. But if it came to actually buying property and wanting to live there, I'd just hire a contractor to do it.
Yeah. Yep.
So with the containers, could you butt them up against each other and then use an acetylene torch to cut open the walls? Yes. And then just trim out the walls with whatever you wanted, paneling or whatever, and just trim around the edges so there's no sharp edges, there's no ugly, unsightly, blah, blah, blah. And then it's not only aesthetic but functional.
Yep, that's the plan. And they'll be bolted together. The strength portions of those containers is the frame. So they'll be bolted through the frames on each end, and then they'll be secured down into the concrete as well. Welded actually to a plate that's going to be drilled into the blocks. So it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, it's going to be a big, kind of like a Lego building, if you will, big square metal box. And then, like you said, I'll trim it all out inside. And, you know, once you go inside, it'll look like a regular cabin. But the outside, it's going to kind of look like, you know, metal and...
Well, no, you could get log cabin siding for the outside.
Yep.
And then you could even get elaborate with a roof and put an attic in there for storage, if you want to really go.
Yeah. I was thinking along the lines, I mean, the areas that I'm looking at don't really have fires, but I was thinking more along the lines that, you know, if a fire ever came along, it'd be kind of fireproof, definitely bear proof.
What about putting it all together and then covering it with dirt and planting grass on top of it, and you've got an quotes underground house?
That was another idea that I thought.
So you let nature insulate it.
That was another idea that I thought of. The problem with that, with shipping containers, is that side skin is not really strong. So you start to bow in and they lose their integrity. The 4 corners, so if you look down on top of the box, the 4 corners are its strength points. So as long as there's nothing on the actual metal roof itself.
Can't you reinforce it?
Absolutely you can. So that's where the cost starts to come in. So, you know, pretty big building like that, you start to reinforce it with steel. Then you got to talk about maybe putting a concrete slab over it to give it that strength so it doesn't cave in, and that's all pretty pricey stuff. So I'm trying to kind of do it on the cheap, if you will, but ultimately over a period of time it's going to be expensive. So the big expense will be getting the concrete blocks and the containers down there. And then just working on it throughout the summer. And
so this is just going to be a hunting cabin or a hunting / bug out?
It'll probably be both. I mean, obviously, if I had my choice of places to where I'd want to be in a SHTF situation, certainly wouldn't want to be in this state. So yeah, I would be heading down that way.
Yeah, it's just every terrorist or country that hates America wants to blow up New York, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yep. It's not a world friendly state.
Yeah, but you're in upper state New York, right?
Yeah. Yep. I'm right 45 miles south of a very old nuclear reactor. So
Yeah,
a grid down situation or something like
far
that.
from Canada, right?
Yep. Up by Niagara
You know how
Falls.
I know that? You said sorry. You didn't say sorry. You said sorry. A?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
now I know what it's all about.
That's right. It's all a boot.
Because
So I'm
Hey,
hoping
I'm in Detroit. I've learned a lot of things. Once I moved up to Michigan, I started picking up on all this Canadian stuff. So
well, I mean, enough chats with Biker Bob and you get it too, but it's so now I don't feel so bad about arguing with you about this Left of Bang book later.
No. It's good.
you can profile Canadians.
left of Ottawa. Or left of Saskatchewan.
Saskatoon.
Okay, Night Jeep. If there's anybody else that wants to hop in here with us for the next little bit, I've put the 2 links in the external. So
Yeah, all they have to do is clicky.
yeah, I just ask that you watch your language when you come in here. No raunchy stuff and no language. So, my husband calls me a fun hater.
I don't want you to wash my mouth out with that soap you made because you haven't pH tested it yet. Might lose my tongue.
Right. that might be a pretty rough experience. Your tongue falls off and then you're walking around like this.
I know, right? Jeez.
It is beautiful though. We did a good job. So, like I said, the ones that won the soap need to PM me your address so I can send you your soap as soon as the pH is right on it. So.
Yeah, I just honestly, I had fun watching you make it, but that's one of those things where I'll just go buy soap at Walmart or Costco. I mean, it's just so easy to do that.
Yeah, but I just wanted to show how easy it is to make it for those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not as easy as buying it, but if you ever have to make your own soap, it's not that hard.
You know, and I wanted to say that I was watching a Western movie because I bought a bunch of DVDs over the holidays, and one of the Western movies that they had one of the leading character's wife was canning. I was like, okay, they're canning in the West, and I have no idea how to can because I've never done that, and there's like a ton of people make it on YouTube with canning videos, and it's been like, okay, I need room. I can barely, I'm not the world's greatest cook, but it's like just canning, really? Why can't I just go to the store and buy my canned stuff? But it'd be nice to know how to do it without poisoning because the possibility of dying from botulism. But it's like on one of the things on my to-do list, but for prepping, but I have a long to-do list, and it's just a question of prioritizing it and hoping events don't overtake us.
That's my biggest fear.
A great beginner canning video for Presto canners. You'll have to check it out. It's really good. That's how I learned.
What gun is that?
You have a video on your channel about Presto canners?
No, Mouse does.
Mouse does. Okay.
On how to use one. What my son wants to know what kind of gun Hawaii it is in your picture, in your profile picture there.
That's a Tavor. 5.56.
5.56 by 45 NATO.
Yeah. It's an Israeli bullpup rifle made by IWI, which is actually an American corporation. It was developed by IMI, which was an Israeli state-owned company, and they sold. They sold that corporation off, split it up, and sold off parts of it. And this company retained the rights to this. But the gun was actually designed when it was still owned by the state, by IMI, Israeli Military Incorporated. Now it's IWI, Israeli Weapons Inc. And but it's a fun rifle to shoot, and when I aim at, I have it set up for CQB with a red dot, and but I've got 4 long guns, and that's one of them. And if the shit hits the fan, that might be the gun I pick for. I think I was saying that I was talking with Dusty about what I would do if the shit hit the fan and there was some kind of nuclear problem with North Korea, and the ships stopped coming to Hawaii, and there was no food on the shelves for a few weeks, and I would be in a condo with like 96 units full of unprepared, hungry people. So I was saying I would eventually there's no rule of law, I would just march up and down the condominium driveway with my Tavor eating a protein bar.
You're a lot better than me. I would have put on black leather and went after people trying to eat them.
I'd head to the hills with turkeys and pigs.
Yeah, it's like, but when you go out and then you just, okay, I'm going to put on all my battle rattle and eat a protein bar in front of all these hungry people just to let them know who's in charge.
Nobody comes around here because they all know I'm crazy.
Yeah, they know better than to come around here unless they're expected. It's not a good thing if they come around here when they're not expected.
That sign says, "Due to the cost of ammo, do not want to stop."
Yeah, so if I ever come to visit Oklahoma, I'll give you like 3 emails, 5 PMs, and I'll like wait like at the edge of your property until I get permission.
Wear bright colors.
Y'all camp at the end of your drive.
Ask any of them if they've ever seen that movie, Secondhand Lion.
Have y'all ever seen Secondhand Lions, that movie?
No.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. You need to watch it, and then you'll know how my husband is. Hey, Oklahoma, how is your mom? Oh, yeah, it's funny. It's got Robert Duvall in it, and who else?
Robert Duvall.
And who else?
I can't remember.
And anytime somebody comes up their road, it has all these warning signs up their country drive, and every time somebody comes up, they have to see all these warning signs, and they're like, I really mean it, that they need to turn around and
One that out of his car and he ducks down and he's raising a handkerchief above it, and they say, oh, he's been here before.
Yeah.
That's basically,
Yeah.
I was going to look at some property up at Eden Rock, which I made like a video, welcome to the jungle. But on the way up that road, there's this one plywood sign that somebody has in their property. They spray painted on it. All you rippas, stay the fuck out. Just spray painted on some plywood. Because I guess people would think it's just, it's in the middle of the forest. They can go steal other people's stuff and take whatever they want, and nobody will stop them because it's in the middle of the jungle on an island in the middle of nowhere. But no, there are people that will stop you, and it won't be the police.
I've been deer hunting before and shot one and was walking back to the pickup to get my gun or get my pickup so I could go load the deer. And when I get there, the pickup sitting behind mine, so I walked back there to see what the guy wanted. And when I got there, he pulled a gun on me. Crawled to the front, and when I stood back up, he's looking down the barrel of my gun. Yeah, it got
Why did he pull a gun on you?
Because he didn't think I had permission to be there.
And also, when you're out in the country, law enforcement is far away. There's no cameras. There's nothing for forensics. People sometimes will do things like that. When I go down to Kentucky, when I'm out in the woods, I'm armed, not just for critters, but in case there's people trespassing or whatnot, they may be armed too. And they ain't going to find my body out in the woods. And I can't get a cell signal out there. And even if I could, the sheriff's a 45-minute wait at best. So for people who don't live in the country, and they're not used to that sort of thing, understanding why sometimes somebody's armed in a rural situation, it's kind of a foreign
It's not
concept
just
to them.
rural.
That's
We
all.
had shots fired at my condo, and the police didn't show up for 7 hours.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did say that.
Yeah,
But it wasn't necessarily just because of a slow response time. It was because first of all, nobody called the resident manager until like 3 hours after the shot, and then the resident manager, instead of calling the police, calls the president of the board, who lives in Oklahoma, by the way, and is a complete moron. And what is the guy in Oklahoma supposed to do anyway about a shooting in Hawaii? And so then like another 2 hours pass, and then he finally calls the police, and then a few hours later they show up, and then they have to wait until enough guys show up to breach an apartment. The guy with a gun behind it, and it's just so yeah. It was like 7 hours after the shots were fired before anything was done.
Oh my goodness. Well, y'all, I'm gonna, for those that don't want to pray with me, that's fine. You can go ahead and go. For the rest that want to stick around, I'm gonna say a prayer for Oklahoma's mom and then sign off. So, but we'll see y'all back here next week. Thanks for coming and stopping in. Check out their channels. And oh, is Oklahoma there? Okay, just a second, and we'll say a quick prayer with him. Oklahoma, what's your mom's name?
Nancy.
Nancy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's say a prayer for those that want to stick around and say a prayer with me. Heavenly Father, we just lift up Nancy to you. Lord, you know the need in her body. And we just praise you and thank you for her. And we thank you for the work you're doing in her body right now as we speak. We pray that your healing power would touch her body from the top of her head down to the soles of her feet in the name of Jesus. We just praise you and we thank you for your healing power, and that your word says that 2 or more gather in your name, and we ask anything in your name, it will be done. So we just praise you and we thank you for that. And we just stand on your word, Lord. Your word says to remind you of your promises. So we're reminding you of that promise right now in the name of Jesus. And we thank you for it. And Lord, we just ask for a peace and a calmness to come over her entire family, to know that she's in your hands and that your will be done. We just praise you and we love you and we give you all the glory. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
How are you doing, Oklahoma?
I'm all right. It's been a crazy few days, obviously.
Oh, I bet.
I haven't even been home since.
Oh, I didn't figure. I went ahead and sent you the link just so you'd have it. But I'm going to sign off and we'll.
Everybody have a happy New Year and peaceful and safe, and take care of each other.
Yeah, happy New Year, everyone.
Same to you guys.
New Year. All right.
Safe
Night
New
to
Year.
everyone at Eternal. Bye, guys.